Hi and welcome to another DUOT video. Yes, as you know, this is my brand new channel for DUOT, the company that just reaches new highs every single day. And I said this is a company that I want to really combine through the next couple of months and share with you what we think. And today we will talk about the recent presentation for investors. We will deep dive what this means, what they actually do, how it looks like, what the patents are. So many amazing things. So make sure to stay tuned and let's dive in.
Welcome to the game, I'm the wolf of Dubai.
Welcome to a brand new video. My name is Danny and I'm trying to find stocks that are going absolutely parabolic. I was early in Tesla. Tesla went from 23 to about like 11. That was painful. I bought more. People called me crazy. Then it went to 500. And with that said, I make obviously a lot of money for my subscribers. My subscribers bought houses and apartments. So make sure to follow all of my YouTube channels. Follow me on X and follow my colleague Michele X10 Stocks. And let's dive into one more thing, because we never advertise anything on this channel except our own product, which is x10daytrading.com. Yesterday we did a nice trade on Wolf. Our members benefited nicely from that. And with that, we are essentially drove into an area where a lot of people would love to make money from the short-term moves on the market, but they don't know how, they don't have the time. So we developed our own software, our AutoPilot, that looks like that. And with that, we are essentially doing exactly everything for you. The buying, the selling, selection of trades, everything into your account. So if you want to be part of that, check out x10daytrading.com. And I see you obviously there on the other side for a 15-minute call. If we can help you, you need at least like $10,000 to get started. But if you have that, schedule a call and we see if we can help you as well. Now, let's dive into the presentation. The presentation is, I believe, from February. So we will have a look together what we see, what is interesting, what margins we are talking about, why is that such an interesting space. In general, we know, AI data centers are the most scarce product out there. Even Anthropic, the biggest AI company, had to go to SpaceX to rent $4.3 billion every month older GPUs just to meet the demand. So you can see here they are essentially kind of devastated what's going on. That's why I believe that DUOT can be such a nice play for exactly this, what's going on. The market will look what's the next one and DUOT will come up. Also, they have their event with lots of institutional investors. I think it's tomorrow, so maybe we see another pump into the stock. So let's dive in. Yeah, so what I really love to do is to go on the website of these companies that I invest in. For DUOT, the real name of the company is DUOT Tech, and on the website in the area of investor relations, you usually have the presentations, you have the news, you have this is very, very big. I will make a separate video on that, but that will be quite big in terms of institutional investors conference. You have a lot of data like the SEC fillings and so on. So this is what you can find here on the investor relation page, right? So, and if you are looking into the presentation, which is from February 2026, where they kind of explain the pivot, what they are doing, why it's so successful, why it will be successful, and so on and so forth, from AI to infrastructure, expanding the edge. Okay, so the overall executive summary is that they are, pivoting from this area where they inspected with AI rail systems, right? So usually what the company did was they built like kind of gates where a train just goes through it and they make pictures and videos and they analyze that and see if there's like cracks in some kind of rail systems. They see if there's like issues that need to be repaired. So that was their business. Then they had like a lot of experience into this, let's say, mechanical and hardware technology that say like, you know what, let's dive into the AI space because it's crazy growing. The margins are insane, right? So, and that's why they start to build this kind of data centers where they say, okay, there's a need for smaller data centers that can be mobile, that can be built fast, that can be connected with each other, can be placed anywhere, right? So even, for example, for self-driving cars, as closer the data center is, as faster a decision can be made. And a split second can decide if a car brakes 3 meters or 3 miles, it's not miles, but meters later, right? So that's the idea, which I really like. And it's a very niche that they can really own and be a number one player into that, right? So you can see here Duos Edge AI Inc. This is their subsidiary of Duos Technologies, develops, owns, and operates multi-edge data centers that provide edge co-location services, outgrown for extensive edge computing experience with rail car inspection portals, right? Initial rollout was 4.5 megawatt, now beginning implementing for an additional 10 megawatt to be installed in 2026. They have already customers. They have a huge backlog of 176 over the next years from a company that is backed by Peter Thiel. Okay, so just to keep that in mind. They also want to pursue the GPS as a service business, because they have seen if we just provide that, maybe we can catch a lot of more customers and more margin when we also put in the GPUs and essentially do everything for our clients. We have like a 70% gross margin, which is insane, and revenue rapidly growing. Okay, so this is how it looks like. They come in containers, they pre-produce them, so they have some in storage if a client wants to see them, if a client wants to deploy them. That's why there's a very short deployment, a time of just 90 days. They bring them on site. They use like containers, standard containers, which then comes on standard, trucks, which is also great. They put them into areas which are cheap, which have cheap power, that have power, can be more flexible about that. And then they service them. And then you can see this is essentially how it looks like. This is the cooling. What they invented and what they have like patent on is essentially here the lock system, because you can see that a data center is very, very much, sensitive to like small pieces of sand, of dust, and so on. So the technician goes essentially into this airlock. This airlock, they get like, blasted like in a real data center that has like this airlocks installed. So they invented that you go inside, you get blasted so you don't have any dust on you, and then you enter the data center. So this is quite interesting as well. You can see here 90-day development cycle, no upfront customer capex. So the client don't have to pay for it, like, say like, we need to build it now. They are really, really, really important metric. So they make it as easy as possible for the people to really use it. Obviously, everything is redundant with backup generators, UPS. UPS is like a small gadget when the power goes off, for example, that, data centers still have power for a couple of minutes to make a backup. So they are really doing it very professional way. And then you can here see a couple of, strategy plans where they want to build initial 15 EDCs with client to achieve baseline of 4.5 to 7.5 annual revenue, which is great. So the revenue is always coming in. And then you can see here that already by next year, they want to have like around like $80 to $100 million in reoccurring revenue. So as more as they see that they are seeing success, and they said already that they are having a lot of clients requesting this kind of services and solutions, then they can even put the whole company behind it, grow this really, really strong in this very, very nice new business they have here. Okay, you can see here they adding key stuff. They raised a little bit more money, so they will raise a little bit more money. That will be like a pressure for the stock. But, in terms of overall projection for the stock, I think that they are essentially quite nice. It's a US American company, so they operate in a lot of Texas, a little bit in Florida as well. They want to expand to Ohio, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, like everywhere in the US. So you can see here that will be also the first expansion for this company, which will be great. We are still very early. You can see here Hydra is the main client that placed this $176 126 million contract over the next years. This is the company that is also backed by Peter Thiel. They have also other big companies as partners like T-Mobile or Schneider Electric, big multi-billion-dollar corporations. So you can see here also those are essentially giving the opportunity of growth as multi-billion-dollar companies trusting DUOT here in what they are doing, right? So they also help to build data centers, which is also a great field, where they essentially have a lot of experience building them. They help other companies to build, like, helping them with end-to-end logistics, customer relations, provide manufacturer agnostic sourcing and infrastructure solutions, and so on and so forth. So that's quite showing how experienced they are. And here you can see manufacturing partners, obviously NVIDIA, Supermicron, Schneider Electric, they're working with the best of the best, which is great to see. So this is how it essentially looks like in terms of expansion, right? So I think that this is not a real picture, but this is essentially how it looks like, right? So here you have the power plant directly here into the data center. You can connect multiple of those, so you can build essentially a pretty big data center anywhere in the world or anywhere in the US where they currently install them. So that's quite amazing as well. You can see here that they are nicely funded for the build of the commercial team, as well as some pods, which I said before. They want to really build a lot of pods on warehouse, so it will be directly available. That's like the key here, to be like somebody needs like a data center here, okay, 90 days we will ship it, install it, all be done, right? So then you can see here that they have existing cash flow as well, which is nice. And what is essentially very, very nicely to see is that they have like a capital investment here, and that the cash flow is already positive cash flow in about the next year, which is great to see. And then you can see here the payback period is just like 4.9 years. And you can see here also that the return of 10 years is over 200%, and then we know that, for example, old GPUs still get used tons and tons and tons. So I think that this can be like even 20-25 months plan. Once that is all done, I think that the data centers can have like a bigger lifespan. And you can see here the gross margins are absolutely insane. I mean, like for such a hardware product, it's absolutely unbelievable. And then you can see here, the cumulative cash flow of a 1 megawatt EDC. So you can see here, a couple of details here. And then you can see here also, which is also amazing to see, the unit economics for the GPS as a service model, right? There they have even bigger margins where they have to invest also a little bit more, because obviously it's they have to buy the whole GPUs and so on and so forth. But you can see here that from next year, they want to have here already the cash flow coming in from the second year, essentially from next year. And the payback time is already much faster than that. So they have seen, okay, if we build out the data center inside the container, this makes even more sense for us. So management team, couple of interesting guys on the board. We maybe will do a deep dive on that, but I really like the CEO, because the CEO comes from the energy business, because they saw, okay, Doug was leading the energy part, which then developed in the main product. So they said, okay, this is now the most important guy. We need to make him the CEO. He has like 30 years of experience of data centers. So quite impressive team. So let me know what you think, but I really like the company and would love to see more news coming in. I think the next big news would be something like having another big deal on the company, another big backlog, multiple of what the market cap can be. So super interesting to see, and we will do more of those videos every single day. So make sure to subscribe. Let's go back to the vlog. So as you can see, super excited for DUOT over the next couple of years. I'm already in with a couple of stocks for about like, I don't know, $20,000 or even $30,000. That's a very small starter position. I hope that it goes down a little bit so I can buy more or for cheaper. And with that said, let me know if you have already some, and I see you tomorrow for a brand new video, because the grass is greener always on the other side. And check out x10daytrain.com so we can help you as well on the short-term portfolio side to make you money as well.